Happy Wednesday, Unfiltered Waters family, and welcome back. We continue our illustrious line of interviews from Austin. And as you guys have seen, we've definitely done a lot of highlighting of the men's program, and we wanted to make sure that we highlighted the women's swimming and diving program at the University of Texas as well. And who better to do that than the head coach herself? So we are so excited to have head coach Carol Capitani on today. And I was so excited to have this conversation because Carol was a coach that I loved getting the opportunity to work with throughout my career. She was a big part of my recruitment process when I was deciding which colleges to go to, and seeing her success at Texas has been absolutely incredible. So for those that do not know, she just completed her 12th season as the head coach of the Texas Women's Swimming and Diving program, and that was in 2024. And she led the Longhorns to a third consecutive national runner-up finish at NC2As, which is the best 3-year stretch the Longhorns have had since 1990 to 1992 for their women's program. So she has done so much with this program. Her swimmers absolutely rave about her. We've had multiple of her athletes on that just absolutely sing Carol's praises. Before Texas, she was at Georgia for 14 years in its entirety, and Villanova before that, and she herself swam at the University of California, Berkeley. So little Go Bears there that I can throw in with all this Longhorn talk. But it was such an awesome conversation. We were so thankful for Carol sat down with us right before they had their afternoon practice. And I think for us, getting Carol's perspective of what has happened over the last 12 years with the women's swimming and diving team has just been incredible to see what she kind of attributes that to, what her focuses are on as a coach, and then from her personally, like how her coaching style has changed over these many years that she's been doing it. But it's also cool to see the ways that it hasn't changed and how her whys have remained so steady.
Yeah, I thought that was really unique. And you can tell she has this like unwavering confidence. And I know when she watches this, she's going to be like,
she already said she's not going to watch it.
Okay, well,
so you can say whatever you want.
Okay, great. But I really do believe like there's this unwavering confidence and energy in her. And I actually am coming from like, I have heard similarly amazing things. And I was really excited because I've maybe met her one time in passing on deck. So to be able to sit down just fresh and hear her confidence, how she's really kind of come up through the ranks, going from being an athlete herself, swimming at Cal, and then going through all these programs, being coached under or working under Jack Bowerly, who we all know, and kind of how she soaked up from him, how she soaked up from Eddie, how she's now working with Bob. Like,
I mean, it's incredible.
It's incredible.
She shared the deck with.
And she's just like, you can tell that she was very deliberate and intentional throughout those years, which is now why she is just based on everything you just read, her bio with the Texas team, it's clear that she's soaked up every aspect and then made it her own.
Yes.
And I have such respect for that, as we talked about, like being a very male dominated field. Like, let's just say it, like it is just how it is. More women are coming in, which is incredible, but to hear how she operates, how she maneuvers, how she, really maintains this incredible leadership at UT. I just had a lot of respect and feels for that in her answers.
Like, she has made herself into the coach that like the other coaches are honored to share deck space with, right? Like, which is so cool. She was an assistant coach at Paris this summer for Team USA. So we talk about that. And I think the unwavering confidence, you nailed it with that. But she's also just very real, very authentic. She likes to get right into the nitty gritty and the hard stuff and the hard conversations, which obviously we love. But I think it's just an amazing perspective to have on. And it is about time that we have a female coach on this podcast.
100%. I think, and it was also cool, I think, hearing about like her daughters and, how she's,
who are both at Texas.
Which is that we got to meet one of them. And so it was just really neat to hear again, like I going into being a mother soon, hearing your perspective. I always just love hearing like, how do you balance it all? Like being a mom, being, this professional. And then obviously just hearing some of her, like on the power play, some of her fun side. And I love making people a little uncomfortable with like weird questions. So it was, people will enjoy seeing that side of her for sure.
This is amazing. If you guys really have any interest at all in learning how you develop a collegiate program or what the growth looks like for someone over decades of being involved in a sport, I mean, Carol just has so much knowledge and wisdom to share. So you guys will love this one. So many takeaways. Without further ado, here is head coach Carol Capitani.
Product that they have, from their silk pillowcases to their incredible eye mask to their Dream Tape and now their Dream Tape Plus, we cannot get enough. The tape is secure and it comes off super easy in the morning. And y'all know me, I am all about efficiency. So the fact that I'm knocking out some of my lip skincare routine as well as getting an awesome night rest, check all the boxes, and I love it. The benefits of mouth taping are really extensive, and since using it in the last year, I have fallen asleep faster, increased my REM sleep, aka the ability to recover well, and found myself waking up just so much more well rested. If you're nervous, I get it. They have their Dream Strips, which is just a smaller one, but just as effective to allow you to experience the incredible benefits. So in this busy world, why would you not take such an easy step to optimize your life? So we've got a special code for you. It's code Unfiltered to give you 30% off your first order or 50% off your first subscription of Dream Tape or Dream Tape Plus. Sleep well.
Coach Carol, welcome to Unfiltered Waters.
Hi.
I am so happy you're here. I've missed
Thank
you.
I missed you too.
So much. I was telling Katie the story the other day of, it was like one of the most memorable moments of my entire recruiting process. And you came to our house in Colorado and you walked in, you said hi to everyone, and we went to go sit down. And I've learned now this is an incredibly Carol thing.
Did I
You
trip?
got on our couch and you just sat crisscross applesauce on our couch and just like totally relaxing. And I was just like, I
You're like,
love
that's
her.
so unprofessional.
I love her. I was like, she's just like, you just have this like calming presence about you. And I just, throughout all of that, like, I remember throughout that process wanting, a big part of why I wanted to go to Georgia was because you were there. A huge part of why I took a recruiting trip to Texas because it was your first year here. And so it was just like, I loved getting to know you over that time, and then seeing what you've done with the program over these years has just been absolutely amazing and incredibly well deserved. So thank you for being on the pod.
You're welcome. I knew there was the slightest chance you might come to Texas. But
I know, and it would have been 100%.
It would have been
because
great,
of you.
but
yeah, without a doubt.
And I feel like I don't know you very well, but I know so many people that know you extremely well. And I'm just excited to talk to you today because every single person is like, Carol has the biggest heart, the best intentions, and every single one of your swimmers like would jump off a cliff for you. Like Laura Sogar, we're staying actually, I don't know if that's the best way to say that, but like they would go to the ends
run
of the
through
earth.
a brick wall.
Run through a brick wall. We're staying actually at Laura Sogar's Airbnb.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Perfect.
she's gushes about you. So I'm just excited to get to know you and
Thank you.
talk about your career and talk about you as a person.
We should just end it now. This is
Yeah,
perfect.
okay.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay, bye.
But I found out something yesterday that I thought was just so telling about you as a person and a coach. And tell me if this is wrong, but when you first came to Texas, you saw Lee and Joe Jamail on the building of the pool, and you said, I need to meet that person because it's really important to me. So tell us more about that.
Joe Jamail, I didn't realize how much money he had given to build the pool. Like, he was a big-time lawyer and big-time Texas guy that hung out with Darryl Royal, the old football coach, and Willie Nelson. But I just thought he was a guy that gave money. So when I first said, hey, I want to spend time with this guy and see why he gave the money, they were like, no, you can't meet him. You can't ask him for money. You can't ask him for any more. I'm like, I don't want to ask him for anything. I just want to get to know him. And so then after I got to know him a little bit, he would like have me sit next to him and tell me old stories and everything. It was pretty special. I mean, he just was a fan, and his wife was a fan of. He gave a lot of money to nursing and a lot of money to like women too. Like yeah, she was a super strong woman.
Love that.
Yeah, so it was great. So he had a really filthy mouth, And he was really bright. And no, I just love the time I spent with him. So
That's amazing. And I think that's part of being at Texas, right, is there's so much legacy here and there's so much history.
yeah, it's a little scary. I'm like,
A little intimidating,
I
right?
said the same thing.
between Eddie and Chris Kubik, like I don't want to forget one story, and I feel like
Yes.
almost responsible to carry those stories forward.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. That was part of what I was going to ask you is coming in. I know carrying on Jill Sturkle's legacy was super, super important for you as well. So maybe take us back, to your first season here. What were your emotions just being in that position of, you have this amazing history of things behind you, but there's so much potential with the program that you see with the athletes that you want to help bring. What were all those emotions in that first season for you?
I mean, it was pretty daunting, but not in a bad way, because I just thought, okay, we'd won a bunch at Georgia, and I felt. I also, when you're young, you think, oh, I can do this really quick. You can't. I mean, some people can, but it wasn't me. And one, it was really scary because I swam in the late 80s, early 90s, and all the people that I swam against were like Texas, like Debbie Rise, and like just this whole Katie Harris, this whole group of people that were amazing. Like they put the last banner up on the wall in '91. So it's like that was my last year of swimming. So it's like I remember Texas just being unbeatable. And so one, I didn't want to disappoint the alumni, and then two, I didn't want to disappoint Jill. Jill, I talked about this the other day. She was the first person. She had to pull some strings, I think, but she invited me on my first international staff on 2005 World University Games, and it was an all-female staff. Well, there was one guy on it, but Sean Hutchison, yeah. But it was like 3 women and one male, and I think I was just associate head coach at Georgia, and so she had to kind of get permission because it was supposed to be only head coaches, but there were about like 4 or 5 Georgia kids on the team, and it kind of gave me a taste of just like what that level of swimming and just like taking care of people other than my own, and like she was one of the first people that I called when I made the Olympic staff this summer, just saying like thank you for the opportunity, and like just she's still around. We bring her to NC2As. Like she was head coach longer than I've been head coach here, and been at Texas for I think like 38 years. So between swimming, coaching, everything. So she's an unbelievable inspiration, and I don't know. I still want her to be as much part of the program. We took her to our retreat a couple weeks ago. So
That's so cool.
yeah, she's amazing.
Is there anything in particular you remember that stands out that she said or did or how she operated?
I just love it. Like she has just an eye for everything. She's almost like Eddie. Like Eddie acts like he's not paying attention.
Yeah.
When you think he's paying attention, sometimes he's not. But then when you think they're not paying attention, they notice everything. And so just Jill being on deck and or watching our kids or just helping out, because she gets it. She knows what it's like as an athlete. She knows what it's like as a coach. So she's the best of both worlds. Like she is top notch, and she just has a way with people. Like she says things and the team is glued and they barely know her, like we bring in freshmen, sophomores, and it takes a while. She doesn't spend that much time around, but I think she keeps me honest, but she has a passion and energy, and she wants it to be fun. Like she went through the ringer. Like she went through everything, like not making a team, making the team. I mean, everything, and she'll tell these stories like, I think I was pretty good in fly. I had the American record for 3. I'm like, chill. Like, and she's so humble, right? So humble. And she's just like who you want to be as a superstar athlete and a person. Yeah.
I love that you still have her as much a part of the program. Like,
I'm so grateful. Yeah.
When you have the alumni, whether it's the athletes or the coaches, that just were such a massive part to keep them so included. Like, that is what's such a big part of what keeps the culture of the team alive.
Yeah. So if anybody watches this, like, I want it's pretty great because the alumni are very, very supportive. They've been since the beginning, even when we were like 7th and 9th and 5th and everything. But I feel the strength of Texas, like whether it's the male alumni, female alumni, but like they've been a powerful force. And I just think like when they're in town, they'll stop by, and I'm like, come talk to our team. The team loves it because then they get out of practice. But you know, like, no, it's just great to feel that legacy, like, and just to feel that history, because that was one of the coolest things. Like when I came to trials here in whatever year it was, 92, and you saw everybody walking around with those "Don't Mess with Texas" t-shirts. Like you either love Texas or you don't like Texas, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of polarizing, but I want it to be not polarizing.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, you mentioned all these finishes. I'm going to do a couple statistics just because I love to make you uncomfortable. So you've had top 10 finishes, 10 out of your 12 seasons that you've been here. 3 consecutive runner-up results, which makes the best 3-year stretch since that 1990 to 1992 era. So much has happened in your time here so far. How has it been year to year to year watching the progress of the team, maybe watching the atmosphere of the team, watching the women that are coming in, growing, that are being recruited, growing over that 4-year period? How has that been for you as a coach, getting to witness that?
It's been a ride. I mean, it's been, I want it to happen faster. I mean, the goal is to always light the tower and win a championship. But I think what I've learned, I think Texas is a really special place. I think our AD is an unbelievable leader. He's a little crazy, but I mean, he knows he's kind of crazy, but he's hired the people that want to be the best, you know. So in our athletic department, not just because we've won the Directors Cup, it's pretty awesome to be surrounded with like-minded people. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to go far. Like I'll go talk to the track coach, the rowing coach, like tennis coach, like we're all supporters of each other. And so you feel like just surrounded by like-minded people are all trying to be good. And I don't think it's like that everywhere. And I'm not, it's not saying a braggy way. It's just, it's like, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you get like third or something or fifth, whatever. Like I used to feel like, oh, I'm the worst coach here, you know. But I mean, that's how you feel.
Yeah,
that's how you
absolutely.
feel. And so I think it's some years I'm like, I don't remember when we were like 2 times outside of the top. I'm not correcting you, but I mean, I remember one year when we were 15th, I was like, I'm quitting. Like this is
So
awful. But I mean, you know, like sometimes you learn and you get better and, you know, set your own standards. And I think that's all we're just trying to do is get better and if everybody comes in and gets better and learns something and they leave better people, better human beings, then we're doing our jobs.
Yeah, pretty gosh dang good coach.
I'm always so impressed by the coaches that were formerly an athlete, and you obviously already mentioned that you swam at Cal. How did you go through that transition, and were you always that coach mind of kind of with your own career and with your teammates, or did that develop later?
Like, did I want to be a coach when I was swimming?
Yeah.
No.
When did that start? When did that start?
Well, it was really interesting because I had the best. I mean, no offense to any other female coaches at the time. You know, like Jean Free, like Cindy Gallagher. There's a million. Well, there weren't a million. There's like 4. But Karen Mo Thornton was my coach, and she was no relation to North Thornton. But I took it for granted. I swam for a single-sex program. We were 4th every year because it was after Texas, Stanford, and Florida. And so we weren't like the redheaded stepchild, but we were just like, we're always 4th, whatever, it's fine. And it was a single-sex program, and Karen kind of she was an amazing coach, amazing. She transformed, I didn't really have a career in swimming, but she transformed who I was as a person, you know? And I think I just took it for granted that I swam for a single-sex. I didn't even think about it. I was just like, oh, this is how it is. I didn't pay attention to anything else. And then I left, and I wanted to write short stories and teach English, and I didn't want anything to do with swimming. Like, I was like, I want to get better at something else. I want to have, like, broad interests, you know, deep interests, anything other than swimming. And then I did some other stuff, but I was, like, kind of teaching swimming, and then I got a call. One of Karen's friends, like, hey, you should look at this. You can get your master's for free, and you can coach at Villanova. And I was like, I want to do this like fancy MFA writers program, you know, but I was like, oh, I'll just do this gig at Villanova. And I fell in love with coaching. Like I fell in love with the relationships and the teaching part. Maybe I wasn't that good at writing. I don't know. I just was like, but I think then I went to Georgia. Both were combined programs, and I didn't see, not that I didn't see anything special, but then I think I just realized that like maybe through a lot of things, I just realized like my coaches did a large part of raising me. Yeah. Like that's not why it might be why I'm coaching now, but it wasn't why I got into coaching. I just like that part, you know? Yeah. And I like the growth. I like seeing people come in who they are as a freshman and then seeing how they leave as a senior. Like, it's really fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of your why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And it's interesting to hear, like, how that's changed over time, because you mentioned incredibly long and successful stint at Georgia as well, starting at Villanova. Like, throughout all those different eras, do you feel like that kind of has been that biggest shift? Is that change in your why of, yes, I'm here to help these swimmers be the best athletes they can be, but ultimately, like, I do play a role in helping raise these young women at a pivotal time in their lives?
That's really hard. But Villanova's a really short stint, but yeah. I think I really just learned, I just learned how to be around good people and work with not a lot of resources, and just like, it was just getting my feet wet, right? Mm-hmm. And I ended up at Georgia, and lately it's like not just the story I tell myself, I think this is a real story. Like, I think I'm the luckiest coach, like right now, right? Because since 1996, it sounds like 100 years, I share the deck with either Jack Barley or Eddie Reese. And all the other awesome assistants. But like I was an assistant for a long time, right? And I think like, wow, like those are two people that everybody, when they talk, they're like, oh my God, oh Eddie. Like people are just like crazy.
Like droll.
Yeah, like they're like, you got to work with Eddie, you know? And I'm like, yeah. And same with Jack, right? Yeah. Like you mentioned you work with Jack and people are like, Jack Powerley. So, but that part is like, I really got to spend 30 years, like with both of them. And like, I learned so much, but they were just incredible people. Incredible. And like two of the best coaches on the planet, but incredible people. And so it's like, moving forward, like I don't need it's like, I just want to get smarter and be like them, but like pick up new skills. Like that's the coolest thing about the transition and Bob being here and like having new people. Like it wasn't like I was all comfortable, like, oh, this is great. But like, I think new stimulus, I think change is hard.
Yeah.
Like if I was like whiner, I'd be like, oh, this is going to be so hard. But like I know I'm going to get better. I know I'm going to grow. And hopefully I just take all those things that I learned from everyone, and then I just keep moving forward, and then I just maybe get smarter, you know?
Maybe.
That is the goal, you know?
By the way, when people talk about you, they go, Carol. Like, you're also having people drool about you, so I don't know what you're talking about there.
No, I don't know. Like, well, you should be around me when we talk about those guys. Yeah, that's great.
I always like to ask this question because we have a lot of coaches that listen to this, but from Villanova to now, is there a quality that you've kept consistent all the way through as a coach? And then similarly, is there a quality that you've changed as you've come through?
Ooh, that is you should have given me these questions before. You know, I think Chuck Horton was the first guy he was so fun. He's not even in coaching anymore, but he was amazing. But we just worked. It was just like work. It was like, I don't even remember, 93, you know? It was just like work. But both our teams were, men and women were both in the top 15. I think that was really good. Like Villanova, it's like we were good, brought people to NC2As on both sides. And I think I just learned like you can do almost anything with anything you're given. Like it's just I can't remember, 6-lane pool, 8-lane pool. Like it was fun. And I think at Georgia, like a big part of how I coach is Georgia, is Jack, it's work, but it's work plus the belief that comes through the relationship probably. I think that's it. So I didn't have to really change much than when I came to Texas. I just had to own it all by myself, right? Like, but I felt that Jack did give me a lot of accountability and responsibility to kind of feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd put me not like in my place every once. I just knew my job was to make our team better. Like, it had nothing to do with me, you know. And I think that's how that's what your job as an assistant is to assist the head coach, right? And so it is scary when you take that on yourself. But it was great having Eddie. Was never about Eddie. Eddie was always just like, how do we get these kids better, you know? And when he was on me or when he was critical in a great way to help me be better, he's like, what are you doing to help this person? Like, how are you coaching this person to be better? I'm like, like, but he made me better like that, right? So I think that's just stayed consistent. I think maybe if there's anything I've dropped, I think when I've like messed up or just gone astray from like what my core is, probably I've just gotten a little too cute, like a little too individual. Like, I really tried to individualize a lot. Like, you try to take care of this person and that person, this person. And at the end of the day, I think like when I feel strongly about what I'm doing and the work, you know, and they have that trust, like it all works out. Yeah.
With
Does that make sense? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, I just dropped like sometimes when it just got a little too disparate and crazy, I was like, okay, I'm coming back to center. It's help. Yeah.
With all of your own change, there's also the change of the college landscape in general. So seeing that
I'm quitting.
I think for everyone, just like it's just been such a wild ride. So as someone who's in this position, how has NIL, how has the transfer portal, how are all these things, how are you managing that as a coach?
I don't know if I'm managing it very well, but I do feel fortunate. Like, I think I'm in a great place to be in this, you know, to be in this changing world. I know that at least at Texas, they care about every sport being. I mean, they say that, and I believe them until it's not the same. But, like, at least we're not a school that's like, we're going to take care of football and volleyball or football and track and field. Like, our athletic director wants every sport at Texas to win. He doesn't think it's fair to tell tennis coaches won 2 natties, like, oh, we're going to take money from you and give it to swimming. Or, like, he just wants to support everybody. So I think it might take us a while. He's not just fully funding our programs, like, tomorrow. Which I don't know if I necessarily agree with either, you know? But I think part of it's really, it makes me sad that there are less opportunities. I feel terrible for, like, what the men's teams in the SEC going down to 22. Like, I think it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I think the opportunities also for, the high school swimmers. Like, I mean, in all honesty, I'd probably rather take a college kid who's been in it for 2 years, Division I level, over somebody at a high school because there's so much learning, right? But I don't know. I mean, I was at one place for almost 16 years. I took a stint in Asia, and then as another, like I've been here. This is my 13th year, so I'm like John Stockton or the Utah Jazz. Like I want to be like loyal to my people. Yeah. So I believe in, I don't know, in some way that also carries on to like this. I don't think it's you go here for a couple of years. I don't like the idea of just kind of following the money. I think it's kind of sad,
Yeah. Well, I feel like we talked to a couple coaches about this, like it's so hard to keep like a cohesion and a culture together if guys are just like jumping one way or the other.
Right,
it's like, how do you even, as the leader of the team, even manage that?
Yeah. Right. I mean, and I would love it. I mean, in a perfect world, you want athletes to come say, wow, I really see myself getting better at Texas, getting better at this school. Like, these are my people, this is my place, I'm staying here, and hopefully they can afford it. That's like how you wish, I wish things were like, I hope they stay like that. I hope there's some sort of like purity in moving forward. Yeah. Or if there's kind of a reaction and it goes the other way, then maybe it goes back to center a little bit. But I also want to be a little bit, I mean, I think the best athletes, the best people, business, work, life, like you're light on your feet and you can change. So I don't want to be so stuck like, I want it the old way, because it's not going to be the old way, right? So I just want to maybe be nimble and move with the times, but also treat people as well as I can. So, I mean, to keep that inherently in the system,
Yeah, yeah. Well, you were named, I'll move a little bit, you were named female assistant coach on the Olympic team this past summer. Head coaching and spots on the Olympic team is very male dominated.
Right.
And I'll speak to this as I was in the corporate world in New York and Wall Street, and it's male dominated.
Yeah.
And I will speak to my piece, and I have no idea how you feel about this, but I just feel like there's a level of pressure that makes you feel like you need to be very direct and sometimes harsh, and I'm not that way. I'm emotional and sensitive and all those things, and I think those things are a superpower when it comes to relationships, when it comes to being a leader. But sometimes to me, when you're thrust into those positions when it's male dominated, I feel like there's this pressure. So one, curious if that's how you feel, and if not, how do you stay true to who you are when you're in that type of position?
Well, I think I try not to think of what other people say or think, right? Unless you know me well. But I think I've always been direct, maybe, and I've always been curious. It probably people were like, "Oh, you're really blunt," and I'm like, "Really?" But so I don't think that's changed me. I like to think that I'm a really good coach that happens to be female, and every once in a while I do feel I don't know if I'm sitting in our head coach meeting or something and there's 4 females in the room out of 25 or something, or sometimes I think, oh, maybe I shouldn't be the first to speak up because I'm no, just so I think I've just wired my brain to just fit in where I fit in and be my best self and carry forward, because I think that's if I'm in a model of behavior you want to see in men or women, you just want to give everybody confidence. Not that men need a lot more confidence sometimes. I mean, I don't even know why I said that, but I think what I'm trying to do with the women on my team is give them as much confidence as possible, real confidence, right? Yeah. It's the only way they're going to be better leaders, better people, and and I know that I'm a most confident self when I'm just surrounded with people who and respect me. I don't care if they like me, but just it's just kind of a mutual respect, and we're making each other better. So I guess every once in a while I feel a little lost, not that I'm shape shifting or something. I'm ugh, I'm tired of all these men. But it's not bad, but I'm it's not I want to go shopping and get my nails done. I just am I feel strange, but I think at some point it's until it gets more even or back to normal, I just have to be my best self, and hopefully other people can follow suit.
Yeah. How do you not care?
I didn't explain that well. How do I not what?
You're I don't care if people like me. How do you do that?
Oh, because I'm pretty ignorant sometimes, because I can't really read swim. I don't read the comments. Sometimes I miss whole swaths of things because Mitch is oh, this happened. I'm wait, how'd you know? He's because I read. I'm but I just, because it doesn't really matter. I have to do the best job I can and just ignore. And sometimes if you're doing things really well, people are going to talk shit. And then sometimes if you're doing stuff,
that's true.
You can do stuff really poorly and people are going to talk shit. But it's not I wake up and I'm oh, meh, whatever. Everybody's doing the best job they can.
Yeah.
And with what they have. And usually you don't know anybody else's story or what they're dealing with or the situation. So I guess maybe in the last 10 years I've just tried to pay attention to myself. I mean, care about others and lift people up. But I don't want to be talking shit about other.
It's
Does that make sense?
Yes,
I'm hearing I care that I'm but I care that I'm liked by the people that I'm close with.
That know you.
Yeah, that know me.
Yeah, whose opinion matters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because people are oh, she's going to be so scary or intimidating. I'm no, if you know me, I'm probably not.
Yeah.
Or I might be, but it's okay. My daughters are scared of me, I'm but they should be, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. A little tiny bit.
Yeah.
But I feel
they
like
love
that
me
ignorance,
and they're scared.
it comes from the confidence too of you knowing you're doing the best that you can.
Right.
Right? It's it's hard to have other people's well, it doesn't really matter what they're saying, when at the end of the day I believe in what I'm doing and I'm doing the best job I can. What else is there to do?
Yeah. Right.
Regardless.
I think every
of
leader
what.
is doing the same thing. I don't think that's a female thought or a male thought.
No. Yeah.
I don't it's just whatever. You're talking about people in business or have it. president of any company. I mean, they're just like waking up. They look at this. They look at the situation. They look at their people, the stakeholders, and they're like, "This is the information. I'm going to make the best decision I can." I mean, that's try to be educated and use your heart, and there you go.
Yeah.
When it comes to USA Swimming picking staff for trips like the Olympics, for national team trips, what do you think it's important that they're looking for in the coaches that they're bringing on to staff for the athletes that are making these trips?
I mean, it's tough. You have to have ability. Like, you have to have earned it, I think, and be able to shown that you can coach at that level with a degree of expertise, so that the athletes that aren't yours, they actually believe in you, I guess. Like, if you're Todd and have 6 people, you're only really going to coach Dave. You're going to coach your people at the meet, right? But if you're one of the other coaches that you're taking care of other people, I mean, that's the situation I was in. But I think you definitely have to have experience. I don't think we should be picking staffs to give people that experience, But I mean, maybe in some years you do have to do that, so we're not just like picking out of a vacuum,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's complicated. I mean, I think you will have had to show success in other areas, like in making decisions under pressure, in coaching, in understanding how to work well within a group,
Yeah. Which is hard because there's so many different personalities.
You have both been on teams.
Yes.
Where either that was the case or that wasn't the case.
And
so I'm sure you have very strong opinions about it.
Yeah. Makes a big difference on athlete experience.
But at the end of the day, going back to what you just said, I've been trying to do this more of thinking that the people that selected it are trying to make the best decision with the information that they have.
Exactly.
Correct.
Like they're put in this position. Like, I would never want to be the person that's having to pick that and then deliver it, and then you're never going to have everyone happy.
No.
It's just so hard.
No, but I think you can do it with a certain amount of grace. Like, you can make those decisions with grace, and if you're doing it as fairly as possible, and the athletes know that you care, it works out.
Yeah, I agree.
Sometimes it doesn't come across that way, and then I think that's where you get into problems.
Agree.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned your daughters, which we were joking before this. I just assumed we're still 7 and 9 because that's how they will always be in my mind. And then I'm looking them up and I'm like, wait a second. They are 20 and 22 years old.
Yeah.
They're a sophomore and a senior here at Texas.
They're amazing,
Which is so fun. So I love being on the mom side of it now. I feel like whether it has or hasn't, it could be two things that are very separate. But how do you feel like being a mom and a wife has shaped your coaching, or vice versa? How being a coach has shaped your role as mother and wife?
I don't know if it has.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think I had less time.
That's fair.
I think I had less time.
Yeah.
So I had to be more efficient with my time, because I think, and maybe it's unfair to say, but there are a lot of men that probably, like, they actually had wives that, for the most part, did more of the heavy lifting with their kids, right? And so they didn't have to worry, like, when they traveled to meets, who's going to take care of the kids, right? Or do that stuff. So I think I got fairly good at, like, managing, household, team life and all that. But I do think that's a pretty special thing, because both my daughters, I think, like, because of what they saw and because of what they went, like, they're well-adjusted, pretty, like, normal. I don't think I screwed them up that much, And so I think, like, maybe, hopefully, they're coming away with a feeling of, like, wow, I can do anything. If I can have a job, I can not have a job, I can go for it, I can, if, they find the right partner and they do things well, like, they can do what they set their mind to. I think that's just...
I think that's an incredible example to say.
Yeah, right? Like,
absolutely.
I don't think, like, if my athletes were like, oh, you're just like my mom, I'm like, no, I'm not. No. Or, like, I'm not their buddy, and I'm not their mom, and I'm not their friend, So I do not treat these athletes like they're my kids, but I do. The only time I actually think about that is, like, if they screw up. Yeah. And I'm like, I think it helps me in that area. Probably that's it. you know, is when they mess up. Like, I think with your own kids, you want your kids to be able to screw up in a place of safety, right? I mean, if they screw up the same way a lot of times, like, okay. But that's the same with athletes on my team. Like, they're allowed, okay, they mess up, they grow up, they figure it out. That's the age group I think we're dealing with.
How do we fail? How do we make mistakes in a productive way? What are we learning? What are we taking away?
Like,
how are
here
we
are the
growing?
consequences. This is what we're going to go through. Let's get better. Let's learn, and then you move forward. You know? So it probably gave me a little bit of grace in that. You know?
Any patience? I feel like that's the biggest thing I hear is like people get more patience when they have children. So I'm excited for that.
You get more patient and you get just better time management. Like before I had kids, I'd be like, kids are in my office all the time. You're just screwing around. You're like, ah. And then all of a sudden later they're like, I know you're busy, but and you're like, I am. You know? And
How
so
long is this gonna take?
Right. So you learn how to like do the same things in less time.
Yeah.
You know?
It makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah.
Our sport deserves more fun competition. But let's face it, swim meets can be long, boring, and really hard to organize. The result is that swimmers don't compete and play long enough in the sport. That's why 75% of swimmers quit before they turn 13. Swimmingly is on a mission to change this. And we think you might be too. You just haven't had the right tools until now. Take a year-round team in California, for example. In this region, teams struggled to host meets due to limited resources and volunteers. No one could organize competitions, and it was really overwhelming. That's when they found Swimmingly. The mobile-based platform replaced clunky systems, making meets simple. The ease of access was huge, the team owner said. Parents didn't need training. There was no complicated equipment. It was just phones, and it worked. Now they run meets with one admin, speeding them up, creating more racing opportunities, and generating more revenue. Most importantly, it helps swimmers compete, grow, and love the sport. Swimmingly is the standard to grow swimming. Whether you're a nonprofit summer team or a revenue-generating competitive program, Swimmingly puts you in the driver's seat and, of course, is approved by USA Swimming for sanctioned competition. Optimize your swimming program by taking the 1-minute quiz for free at swimmingly.app/quiz. Be the hero our sport deserves today.
Well, I want to hear about Bob coming in and kind of the transition with that a little bit. Mainly hearing that you guys do joint practices on Fridays, which I think is really cool because I think it's almost like, from my position, I would have loved to have all girl practices for a certain period of time, but then the benefit of getting the fun of training with the guys. So talk to us about that a little bit.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the guys think it's fun. I don't even know if the women think it's fun. Like, it's kind of fun for the coaches. I mean, I do think, you know, when Bob came in, we've sat down. We still sit down and like figure out like how can we be better? What can we do? You know, together, separate. I mean, we work pretty independently of each other, but there's ways in which we're doing things better, I think. And we didn't want to look like any other program in the country, like combined programs, separate programs, whatever. So I think it's been fun and different for both sides, because I don't think the men weren't like, oh yay, we get to swim with the women, and the women didn't want to really be with the men. But it's helped, I think, just build a stronger team, have them get to know each other. I think they all work pretty hard when they're together because guys don't want to get beat by the girls and vice versa, right? And it's just fun to have something different. There's like a lighter mood. It's different. We take turns writing practices. So, that's been pretty fun and different.
Like a hybrid model almost.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And we found ways like putting distance together, having some sprint groups combined, so it's like, I think all of us are just learning, like, it's nice having like a new infusion of like thought, talent, working with different people. I like it. Yeah.
How much have things changed for you? Has it been Bob coming in, Bob's doing Bob, and Carol's still doing Carol? Like, how much has that impacted you, if at all?
I think it's like 91% the same. Yeah. I don't know. It's not like a real number, but it's like I have to be cognizant, like, of, this might affect the men, so let me talk to them about it. Or like, we're talking about meets, or we're talking about how to help each other out. I think it's just, I've had to learn how to Eddie, Bob is not Eddie, right? So I've had to learn just how to communicate better, differently, like just getting to know a whole different staff. But again, I think it's like It's made me better. It's made me think differently. I like the way my brain works. Yeah, it's good.
Amazing. Okay, we're going into our power play section.
All right.
AKA our rapid fire section. First one, what is something that never fails to make you laugh?
My husband. He's great. Yeah.
Is it intentional or not?
Half and half. I would say. Half and half.
All right, what's a green flag of yours and a red flag of yours in your personality?
Oh, I don't even know what that means.
So red flag is like, people are like, oh, this person has a red flag, meaning it's like a downfall. And then a green flag is like a strength.
A weakness and a strength.
My own weaknesses and strengths?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you mine if it would be helpful.
Yeah, give me an example.
All right. So one of my downfalls is I react at a 9 when it should be a 2 for certain things. Yes, confirmed.
Right.
And then I would say a strength of mine is like I'm just like insanely like relentless. Like I'm not stopping until the job is done.
Yep. Confirmed on both.
All right. People would say that I'm maybe not the best driver.
Okay.
I actually don't think I'm that bad.
How many accidents have you gotten in?
Like 0. I don't even know.
Okay.
Maybe 1. I mean, it's not like my car's all perfect, but I haven't totaled. My daughters have totaled cars, right? Yeah. But people are a little. People in the coaching community are a little scared when they drive with me. I would say.
Okay, noted.
But I think I'm actually okay. But like, I will give in to that and say that's a red flag.
That's a red flag. Okay.
That's a red flag is my driving, and I think maybe a green flag is just I will let people know how I feel about them.
Yeah,
in a
I
good
love
way.
that.
Like I want to.
I like that.
I wrote you a letter after your recruiting
I know.
visit, I think. Yeah.
You did.
Like, I want to just let people know, like,
Yeah.
yeah. Whether they want to
Wait,
reciprocate
what did the
or
letter?
not,
What did the letter say?
Oh, I don't know. It was kind of like, Missy, why don't you just, like, dare to do something different than what other people think you're going to do?
And how'd you receive that?
I
She was
appreciated
like,
it.
I am not going there. I made you think for, like, 10 seconds? I don't know.
100%. No, it absolutely, and I think that was the point of it too. Was
Yeah.
like just.
I love that.
I was
and
like,
I
you don't
think
have to
you
do
also
it.
knew like enough about me at the time to know that
I might strike a chord.
At 17 years old, of course, that's like I'm thinking about what's expected of me and
Right.
what should I be doing. And so for you to kind of break that was just like focus on you.
Yeah. I was
and
like,
that
you make the best
yeah,
decision for you, but you don't have to do what everybody thinks you're going to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Which I loved. Okay. What was your favorite event to swim when you were swimming? And what's your favorite event now to watch as a coach?
400 IM, favorite event to swim.
Wow.
I would say maybe 200 IM.
Yeah.
It's just a lot going on
Yeah.
and a lot that can happen.
changing.
Yeah.
Agreed. That's a great one.
Gritty choice for 409 being your favorite. I'm impressed. Okay, I don't know if you're going to answer this. Most embarrassing moments. It could be on any college team that you were on the national team. Like we've all had bad first experiences because you're kind of nervous,
I didn't make any national teams.
No, as a coach.
I think I was, this is a dumb answer, but I think I was like definitely embarrassed the year we got like 15th. Like I think it's a dumb answer, but it's like,
It's not dumb.
I just remember walking around that third day just being like, this will never happen again. There were things out of my control and things in my control, but that sort of knocked me down for a while. I think that everybody has this, but this is, you don't have to put this in the podcast. Like,
I'm so excited.
no, but like I made some trip up at like the OTC. I did make some like junior national. I don't know what I did, but like we had to explain something like this question, and like when I try to like wax my own eyebrows with like Nair, but I'm like, oh, good as like if it starts burning, like if it hurts more, it's gonna be really good. And I basically like burned 2 like I think I still have a scar. Like, it always explains scar, and I think I just still have a scar because it burned down to, like, it was, like, bloody, you know? And then I just say, like, oh, with a curling, like, I was deathly embarrassed. Like, nobody taught me how to do anything, really, so.
That's,
your eyebrows are
like,
perfect now.
Well, like,
I'm like looking at them like they look great.
You obviously figured it
that was when
out.
I was, like, 15, but, yeah. So that was embarrassing. But then I had to talk about it at, like, a junior team camp or something, and, yeah.
And
We've all got them.
Yeah.
We've all got them.
You want to do the last one and then we'll go final
Yes. So, complete this sentence. The way to my heart is.
Through words. Yeah.
three? I can
Like
see
that. Is that your love language too? Like words of affirmation?
No, it's time spent.
Okay. Quality time.
Quality time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it more just like I like people that are honest. I like straight talk. Straight talk, like real people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love
Even
that.
if it's like not perfect, like I just want to get to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have a practice to get you to.
All right.
So we're going into our final 3 questions.
'Kay.
We ask all of our guests the same 3 questions.
Oh.
So the
I
first
should have watched your podcast more.
You can catch up.
I'm embarrassed.
The first one is, what is a moment from within your coaching career that brings you the most amount of joy?
I don't know. It's not about me. I just like seeing seeing people get farther than they ever dreamed. I guess there's been a lot of those. Just people being better than they ever thought possible. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That answers what makes you a great coach.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, what is a moment outside the sport coaching that's brought you the most amount of joy?
Raising my kids. Yeah. And seeing them like turn into the people they are. You know.
Yeah.
I'm about to join you in the 2-daughter boat.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Second
so
little girl coming in March.
Wait, you're pregnant right now? My powers of observation. I don't know. In March, that's like 2 months. You look like a normal person.
Well, that's a great
I know, they're watching me
Congratulations.
waddle around everywhere. Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. I'm really excited to join the 2-daughter club with you.
You name her Carol?
I mean, first one's Caitlin.
There
so
you go.
There's some good
Okay.
alliteration there.
Yeah, it's like a name from the 50s. Just
I love it.
will not
Kate
be
and Carol.
popular. There you go. Just kidding.
All right, our
I'm
last
kidding.
question is, if you, speaking of words, had to pick one word that encompasses either like something that's foundational to you or something that you're working on moving forward, what would that word be for you and why?
Love. I don't know.
God, everyone is
Just
just
like-
like in their
just-
feels today.
I know.
I was gonna say curiosity, but I just think like just being open enough to receive it and give it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, it's such a simple thing, but the power that
No,
has
it's hard.
is
Very hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Because you can do a lot of things with love, but you know, you
Yeah.
gotta.
Yeah.
It's hard.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, Carol, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've been
Thanks for having me.
amazing,
This
yeah.
is delightful.
Yeah.
I feel like we're on Smart List or something, but we're just not as funny. I'm not, you know.
I think
But-
you're very funny. I've laughed a lot on this podcast, so.
But we're
Smart
cheering.
List, but totally not. Smart List.
That's the new tagline for the podcast.
There it is.
But
All right. Thank you so much.
We
Yeah.
so appreciate
All right.
it, and best of luck with the
Thank
rest
you.
of the season.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay. Bye.